Hi everyone, I have here an income statement that we had a look at in the Collaborate session, and what I'd like to do is just record quickly a video to demonstrate to you how these three columns work. And I touched briefly on it in that Collaborate session last night, but I've since had another query about them just to clarify exactly what's going on here as is clearly visible. We're not just doing a basic addition and subtraction where we record our answer underneath the figures that we are adding or subtracting. So I just want to run you through a quick example of how these columns are used. I guess the principle here to consider is that we want to show all our workings, and what these columns allow us to do is to show those workings. We want to have on our far right hand side the summary level figures. So the summary level is things like net sales, cost of goods sold, gross profit, total income, and each of these summary level amounts are a result of a calculation, some equation or calculation combining different elements of the accounts. So I guess the goal here then is to list in this column here the accounts that are applicable, and then we will record the amounts in these three columns to then correctly calculate our summary level amounts such as gross profit. Now I'll show you how it's done with the example of cost of goods sold. Okay, so that's what I have here. This is the calculation for cost of goods sold. Now, we could get a separate sheet of paper or Excel, and we could grab all of our data, put it in there, and calculate cost of goods sold, and just forget all of these numbers and just write down cost of goods sold 60,700. The only problem with that is that if we want to go back and audit that figure, or just check our calculations, or if your supervisor wants to check that you've calculated it correctly, there's no way of doing that. You haven't provided your workings. So the columns here allow us to do that. What we would then aim to do in showing those workings is list the totals of each relevant account. So we're going to completely break down our calculations to show individual accounts, and we want to show them. Obviously they need to be in a consolidated form in that summary level here on the right hand column, but in the two left hand columns, on the middle column and the left hand column, we can show them as individual account totals. Alright, so let's bear that in mind. We know that cost of goods sold is opening inventory plus net purchases minus closing inventory. That's the equation, right? So the first component is opening inventory, 16,200. We know that that is a single total of an account, which is an asset account at the beginning of the year. So inventory, 1st of July 2011, 16,200. We can just put that straight in here. Now, the next figure we need is net purchases. That is not an account. That's a combination, a calculation of two accounts. So we're going to move across another column to the far left-hand column to record the total of single individual accounts to calculate net purchases. And those two accounts are purchases, 56,000. I'm not going to flick back, but you will be able to do that if you have a look through the slides of Collaborate. Purchases are the 56,000 less purchase returns, which is 1,800, gives us net purchases. Now, instead of writing it underneath here, that figure, that subtraction, we're going to put it here in line with the column we're using for our equation of cost of goods sold. The amount is 54,200. That is net purchases. We're going to also aid in checking and recording all of our workings by breaking this equation into two components. Our first component is opening inventory plus net purchases, and we'll record that. It's 70,400. I guess that could be described as inventory available for sale. Now, the second component is to subtract our closing inventory, which is 9,700. 70,400 inventory available for sale minus our closing inventory, 9,700, is our cost of goods sold. We record that over in our right-hand summary column, 60,700. We can then use that to calculate our gross profit, our total income, our net profit, and that net profit then flows, of course, into the balance sheet. Hopefully this has made it a bit clearer for you how this summary column works, and then the two working columns work in practice. But the main thing to keep in mind is that don't do any calculations off this sheet. Record on your income statement the balances of your accounts, your individual accounts. Record them all here, and by structuring it in one of these columns, like you can see in this video, in terms of what level of detail or what level of summary that that account balance represents, then it will give you a clear and an accurate and consistent method of both recording your workings and arriving at these calculations in the right hand column. Please feel free to ask any further questions. I feel like it is the kind of thing that you sort of just need to have a go at and practice, and then it will become clearer to you why we use the columns and how it can actually help you provide some consistent and accurate answers and statements.